In this demo, you will be able to illustrate the number of ways the Cloud Pak can be a single console in order to derive governance, application management, and infrastructure management all in one place. So join us as we spend a few moments to showcase the Cloud Pak for multi-cloud management. Once you have logged in, this is the screen that you're going to see. This is the overview screen. And you're going to go to Observe Environments, Overview. And that's what you do when you first log in. And you will come to this screen and you're able to showcase that you can see any of your workloads running in any cloud. And Auto Detect kind of gives you an idea of things that are still in process of being imported. You can go in and search. You can look at all the different ways in which you can view this information. You can view it by type. You can use the toggle to view it by region. And you can change this material around to show any kind of view that you want, to have just a unified view of your environment. Why this is important is because this gives you an overall visibility and understanding of your entire estate and your applications, no matter where they're running. Before we go any further, I do want to give you a preview of the newest release of the Cloud Pak for Multi-Cloud Management 1.3. Coming soon to this demo environment, this is what you will see in the overview screen. A different layout with a different view of your entire estate, including virtual machines. As we continue to build this out in the demo environment space, you'll be able to showcase your whole VM inventory, as well as cluster applications and cluster policies, all in one screen. So as we continue to progress, we're going to go to Automate Infrastructure and Clusters. And what we're going to be able to do here is to have an overall view of the inventory of our clusters. And why this is important is because you have the capability to launch the cluster straight from here, but I'm going to show you how to edit labels. Labels are important because you can search on these. You can create any label. You can group these in ways that are meaningful to you so that when you go and you do a search capability that I'll show you in a moment, you can search on these labels. So I just created myself a new label. Labels are optional, but labels are very helpful. They will give you the ability to group these clusters. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to select one of our managed clusters in this environment. And I'm going to click Launch. And from there, it's actually going to take me to the OpenShift cluster login page. I'll log in using the same credentials that I logged into the Cloud Pak with. I will go up to Home and check the status. The status of my cluster looks good. Everything's running. And I did this directly from the Cloud Pak. I was able to jump right over into OpenShift to take a look at this. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to illustrate the search capability. And why this is compelling is that you are able to quickly navigate around your entire estate directly from the Cloud Pak for Multi-Cloud Management in a very speedy search. So I'm going to select the unhealthy pods to show you that it pulls all of those down immediately. Okay, we've got this list of unhealthy pods. I can further extract additional information, all the related nodes to those pods. And what this is doing is it's collecting every bit of relevant information around my unhealthy pods in just a few seconds. And it spans multiple clusters, multiple environments. This capability is highly compelling if you're trying to get to the root cause of an issue. I also pulled in config map as a way to show another way to drill down to deeper information. And I'm able to create my own new search. Okay, so I can do that, or I can search on maybe a kube version. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to search for the different Kubernetes version, and then I'm going to save this as my own search. So why this is important is you have the capability of creating customized searches. So you don't have to go back and do this every time. I'm going to name it, and then I'm going to save it. And then when I go back in, it'll be there waiting for me. So I'm just giving a little bit of information, save it, go back, and you can research all the saved searches that you have. This is really important because if I created new labels, I could create a customized search for that label. So click search. There's my search. You can see I've named it my name right there. So next we're going to talk about governance and risk. So we're going to go to Govern Risk. And what the screen we first come to is an overall dashboard, the GRC dashboard, Governance, Risk, and Compliance. And this is going to show what our situation is from a policy violation, from compliance metrics. Right now we can see that we've got a compliance issue in one of our managed clusters. So I'm going to go into Policy, and I'm going to show you how to create a policy. And what this will do is it will create a construct or a configuration of how every one of my clusters needs to adhere to. I'm going to give it a name. The naming is important because then you can identify your policy. I'm going to make changes such as to the namespace. I'm going to provide the namespace of policies. I'm going to make several other changes that are going to automatically populate the YAML on the right side. You'll be able to see that in a moment as I'm doing it. The specification is going to be network policy. And once you see I select this, it's going to automatically populate the rest of that. And it's all done for us directly into the YAML. And then from there, I'm going to create this policy. So I'm going to click Create. And then once I've created it, I'm going to go back to my main GRC screen once again. And from here, I can go down to my policy listings and I can see the new policy I just created. It takes a moment, but you will also begin to see that one of our two clusters, you can see it changing, will be in violation to our new policy. So we want to remediate that, and we're going to address that right away. And one of the ways that you do that is you go into the policies themselves. You can see I now have 2 policy violations. Come down. I'm going to click on my network policy isolation. And as we wait for that to load, what we're going to do here is we're going to actually launch into the cluster that is in violation and bring it to resolution directly from the Cloud Pak for Multi-Cloud Management. Because it gives us a visibility to exactly where the issue is. And we're going to go out to that cluster. And you can do this via the Policies tab. So I clicked on the Policies, clicked on the Violations, and launched directly out to that cluster. I'm already logged into my cluster as I was before, but I'm going to go to Networking, Network Policies, and then I'm going to click Create Network Policy. And from there, I'm going to actually try out the samples that provides a few samples on the right-hand side. I'm going to try it out. And then I'm going to make a change that gets in an alignment with my policy. So it's basically denying from other namespaces. So I will save that. And once I've done that, I will be able to go back to my Cloud Pak for Multi-Cloud Management GRC screen. And after given a few moments, things will refresh and we will see that there are no policy violations left in the system. It does take a little bit of time. Here we are back at the GRC screen and you can see that there are no policy violations. We were able to remediate the issue directly from the Cloud Pak for Multi-Cloud Management. Going into policies, we take a look at our policy, 0 out of 2 violations. Why this is so important is because you can not only solve the issue directly from here, but you can also ensure that you will have visibility to when there's a problem. Okay, we're going to jump ahead to managing applications. So you go to Manage Applications and you'll be able to see a list of the applications available to us to be able to manage. I'm going to click on KubeToy and you can see there are 3 pods, 1 managed cluster right now that's holding this KubeToy application. It's running in our managed 1 cluster. From there, we're going to go and we're going to actually find the route in which this KubeToy application has been deployed. I'm going to click on it and I can highlight the location where this application is deployed, paste it into another window, and hit enter, and you can see this is my KubeToy application. I can actually go in and create words. I can write something about this application and click Log It once I'm done typing that. And then I go back to the MCM browser. And once I get there, I'm going to actually select the Logs tab, making a note of exactly which pod, which cluster this has been logged into. So I'm going to select the pod with the suffix that I just noted from my KubeToy application. So I'm going to select pod, and you notice that I picked the bottom one. And once this comes back, you'll be able to see and understand my typing that I did in our application. It's actually going to be captured in the logs. This is interesting because we made the change in the application, and here in the Cloud Pak for Multi-Cloud Management, we see the log of that activity. And this is just to illustrate that all the things happening with the application itself can show up in the Cloud Pak for Multi-Cloud Management. In this same view, you were able to observe and understand all the components of the Cloud Pak for of this application rather. You can click on Edit Topology, and here it provides you a YAML where you can go in and you can make changes to the different pieces directly to the code itself. You can do it this way, and I'm simply scrolling through and showing you that every component of this application is articulated in a detailed YAML file. But the Cloud Pak for Multi-Cloud Management gives you a pictorial topology view, which is much more user-friendly and easier to understand out of the box. But if needed, you quickly can make changes. You can view all the resources this way on the Resources tab. I'm going to toggle down to see the full table of all the resources tabs that are there. And then we're going to go down and we're going to look at our channel, which is for how this application is deployed. This is the YAML file, and right now it is only a dev channel. That any changes made to this application go to a dev cluster. But I'm going to change that to production, so I'm going to change that to prod. And why this matters is because it's about to deploy our application to a totally different cluster. So we're going to go back to the overview, and if you recall, we were in Manage-1. Now we're in Manage-2. So by that simple change to the channel, we actually routed this application to a different location. And we're going to be able to go and look at the route just as we did in the past, in the previous steps. So when we look at the route, we can actually go in, click this cluster name, and what that will do is it will take us to this view here, where we can drill down on the related routes. I'm going to go down and I'm going to find my KubeToy route and click on it. And then this way I'm going to copy and paste the location of our KubeToy production application. And I'm going to paste it in another tab. And once that loads, you're going to see that our production application is now running in a different cluster. So it's in production cluster. We were able to move it from dev cluster 1 and move it to production cluster 2. Now this completes the demonstration of the multi-cloud management, and we're back to the overview screen. Thank you very much. This concludes this overview of the Cloud Pak for Multi-Cloud Management. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have any questions, you can reach out to myself, Ashley Briscoe. You can reach out to one of the Center of Competency leaders, Jim Connellan or Steve Merman. Thank you and have a great day.